Diane moved me to tears. Ruth Gordon is in the movie just rarely enough that every time you see her, you go, oh yeah, Ruth Gordon. I don't know how I went nearly 4 decades without this film in my life, but I stumbled upon it at last, and I am so grateful.
5 stars.
And before we get to the 1-star reviews, I just gotta ask, if you're out there, because I'm looking through all of these 1-star reviews, and I'm reading a lot of them, so I've gotta say, Chuck and Sal, if you're out there, how many people did you force to watch Voyage of the Rock Aliens? I mean, just holy cheese balls. I cannot believe how many reviews reference the two of you. It's just over and over. These 1-star reviews just about Chuck and Sal and how terrible they are for making them watch this movie. I mean, you're doing the Lord's work, but come on. This is a little bit ridiculous. So as we get on to the 1-star reviews, I just want to acknowledge to everyone that I have omitted around 40 or so 1-star Chuck and Sal oriented reviews. The Chuck and Sal ones out of the way, let's get on with it. Hilarious. Pia Sedora is my new favorite 80s lady. The filming is atrocious. The acting is bad. Every joke falls flat, and the aliens are annoying beyond belief. I do like the songs a lot. Bizarrely, many of them are badly re-recorded versions of Pia's own songs. This is most obvious in A Little Bit of Heaven, where she sings with the alien commander Absid. Fans of Trashy's 80s movies will love this. It's even worse than Xanadu in Grease 2. I'd give the plot a 1 out of 10. The acting a 1 out of 10. The feel-good factor at least a 7 out of 10. The soundtrack is a 10 out of 10 or 1 out of 10 depending on your taste. Watch out for Pia's all singing, all dancing performance in the ladies' room. Alright. With our 5-star and 1-star reviews out of the way, I think it's time for our actual movie analysis. Let's get into this, shall we? Let's get into Voyage of the Rock Aliens.
Jeez, that's not cranberry sauce.
Our movie starts off with a giant guitar-shaped spaceship soaring through space across the screen, smashing through the title of the movie as Open Heart by Real Life plays in the background. And we get our first view of the interior of the spaceship as 1359, a robot made out of PVC pipes and LEDs, starts to boost up the ship. 1359 is actually voiced by the same voice actor that voices Optimus Prime. On his hip you'll notice that he has a tool belt with a couple basic necessities as well as a pint flask of bourbon. 1359 starts up a computer called the Rhema scan and begins searching the galaxy for rock and roll, and apparently the rock and roll aliens are supposed to be on a research mission, but have gone rogue after hearing some dope-ass beats. They've since been on a mission to find the source of the rock and roll and possibly add a new sound to their band. And oh yeah, they're a band, by the way. 1359 shuffles through the various planets on the Rhema scan. They all have some sort of music playing. They're all very obviously bad. Teldar, the first planet that we see, is essentially an alien-filled world filled with Jim Henson rejects playing Scottish bagpipes. And the next planet is some sort of ballroom dance planet called Molochs. It seems quite Earth-like, but I guess it's too boring, and we eventually land on Osirina, another alien world which appears to be inhabited by Pia Sedora or a Pia Sedora lookalike. As best we can tell, though, this character and Dee Dee are both played by Pia Sedora, but they don't appear to be the same person, especially as this one is noted to be from another non-Earth planet called Osirina. So we're just going to assume Pia is not the same Pia that we see in the rest of the movie. So after several discussions as to who this person might be, the best we can assume is that this is actually Gurmar, from Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. All grown up, of course. And after having learned about love from the Earthlings and Santa, Gurmar has apparently now gone off on her own spiritual Martian quest to find this elusive emotion called love. That's our canon for it, anyway. Thus, we have Gurmar, on an alien world, having her own little summer romance subplot. And honestly, I'm glad we're able to catch up with this character, as I'm sure we've all wondered what have happened to her after the events of Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. We can only speculate as to whether they stuck to their guns with the whole Christmas thing or not, but what we do know is that Gurmar grew up as a girl with goals, and now she's living out her dreams of sexually exploring the galaxy. This is where we switch over to Gurmar as she rides into the Arsaranian village on the back of a 200cc single-cylinder thumper. Just to note, none of the people in this section appear anywhere else in the movie. Pia is the only one who really makes this little musical number confusing canonically. She can be seen riding into this slum-style villa on the back of what I believe to be a Kagawa WMX 200 with a gang of no-goodniks, all on the same white motorcycles. Gurmar, obviously involved with the guy she's riding in with. I'm not sure what his name is, so we're just going to call him Derek Bowie. And Derek, he seems to be the leader of a big old white supremacy-style motorcycle gang. Also, I think our Serena might be connected to the Mushroom Kingdom through some sort of sewage portal because Mario is definitely a part of Derek's gang. Look out for him. You can spot him in exactly one shot. So Derek and the Dominoes roll into this little villa with Gurmar, and it's apparently pretty obvious that they're rolling up, and that they're not the only gang in town. We see this gang of guys. You know the type. Those roughneck guys. All they want to do is just dance and sing. And so help you if you get in their way, because oh man, oh boy, they'll really rough you up, man. I think we've all been in a back alley once or twice, when we've really had to rely on some quick thinking and some fast jazz hands to get ourselves out of danger. So to say the scene is tense might be underselling it. Tamp it up a little more. We'll even add some super low-key racial tensions. You know, the kind you find in movies like White Men Can't Jump or Hairspray. This other gang, they're all dressed in fishnets and cheap racially coded clothing, and their leader, he's this scary tough guy played by Jermaine Jackson. And he's got an eye on Gurmar right away. I don't know his name, so we're just going to call him Shoulder Spoons, because of the giant shoulder spoon styled armor that he's wearing all the time throughout this music video. Well, Gurmar, taking note of Shoulder Spoon's impressive clavicle armor, starts to make cutesy eyes back at him. You can't really blame her, though. I mean, if you could see what I'm seeing, if you really knew how well protected this cat's rotator cuffs were, you might be a little bit smitten yourself, missy. I'm just a-sayin'. Gurmar, just as impressed as I, pushes Derek away, running off to the safety of Shoulder Spoon's mostly unprotected arms. Derek, so mad, he angry points at Shoulder Spoons. And so now Shoulder Spoons knows that he knows that they know that it's on. Derek's gang gets ready, putting on some medieval shoulder armor of their own. It's full metal shoulder pieces with spikes and everything, and again, only the shoulders. Because these are real gangsters, and they know that you really just need to defend the shoulder. That is the weak point. The rest of a suit of armor, worthless. Shoulder Spoons, seeing Derek's gang, this time with their shoulders fully armored, decides to run. He makes a smart choice there. Again, if you haven't seen the movies, these are large metal shoulder guards that are fully spiked. There's nothing for Shoulder Spoons to do. He doesn't even have spikes on his Shoulder Spoons. So Shoulder Spoons, he decides to run away. He takes Gurmar by the hand, and he takes off with her into the night to go hide by a tree. Meanwhile, Derek and his gang, they get back on their Kagivas, and they chase after Gurmar and Shoulder Spoons on motorcycle, and this all ends in an epic confrontation in the countrysides. The two gangs, fighting for Gurmar's love, both begin wildly kicking in the air. It's a dangerous defensive move because now, neither can approach without being kicked by the other. A Mexican standoff, if you will. Both of them kicking wildly in the air, not being able to approach. They kick, and they kick, and they kick until they can kick no more. Finally, Shoulder Spoons, all kicked out, and Gurmar, seeing this, she does what she must. What any young Martian girl looking for love would have to do in her situation. Seeing that Shoulder Spoons no longer have any strength to kick. Seeing Derek still has strength in him yet to kick. She turns her gaze back to him. If only Shoulder Spoons had had a few more kicks in him. But no. He is all kicked out. And Gurmar, seeing this, abandons him, running off with Derek as they jump onto the back of his motorcycle, revving its engine, and riding off with him into the night. This is where we go back to the spaceship, and seeing all of this, the Rhema scan rules out our Serena as an option. I'm not sure why. They did have good music in my opinion. But then again, AI does have a tendency to be racially biased, so maybe it's just the Rhema scan not wanting to go to a planet with Jermaine Jackson. Whatever reason you want to go with, it rules out our Serena, and then it pops up with Earth. And alongside Earth, why not? Just the words, why not, determining there's no other rock and roll for thousands of light years before Robo-59 here sets their course Earth. And upon calibrating the coordinates to Earth, Robotimus Prime decides it's time to wake up the crew. You might think they'd be in cryogenic hibernation or something like that, and I guess they are? And we follow 1359 as he shuffles through leftovers in the back of an old Electrolux-style freezer to find a pack of dolls that are supposedly our de-animated rock aliens. 1350 Prime tosses the alien dolls into what looks to be a laundry chute before they zip through some tubes, emerging through another tube as full-grown alien guys, ready to rock and roll! All of the aliens are identified by a series of letters. So to kind of let you know who's who, the first one out of the chute with the alfalfa-style hair and the Coke bottle glasses, that's Mark Jackson. His name identifies him as A-E-I-O-U, but it's pronounced A-U, just to be clear. Next, we have Craig Jensen popping out. He's called Nope Queer, identified by the name tag N-O-P-Q-R. Next comes out Tom Nolan, a.k.a. Absid, spelled out A-B-C-D. Then out comes Jeff Casey as F-G, this time spelled out F-G-H-I. And finally Stovitz, spelled S-T-U-V-W-X-Y-Z, and played by Pat Burns. Pat Burns, who fails to reanimate the first time and has to be sent through the chute again. Greg Bond can be seen as Jacklem, spelled J-K-L-M, standing to the left of the reanimation chute, even though we never actually see him come through it. So I'm hoping that was a perfectly fine explanation, and that gave everyone a really good sense of who's who. And alright, I'm sure everyone has all those characters down packed, and I'm positive none of us are ever going to confuse anyone for anyone else ever again at this point in the movie, I'm sure. Excellent. So, our rock aliens are established, and now fully animated, set sail for Earth in search of a new sound and possibly a new member. We then immediately cut in with 21st Century, which is our first song by Rhema. It's a catchy number that establishes the tone of this movie early on as we have all of the aliens dancing and singing together, spiced with shots of them exploring Earth. As the rock aliens arrive, our main character Dee Dee is having fun in the sun at Spielberg Beach, which I suppose is more of a sunbathing location than a swimming location, as you can see one would-be surfer throw his board into the water only to have it melt away immediately into a sludge. Also, why is he surfboarding in Lake Erie? There's no waves, there's no real way to surf here. The poor guy's board turns to pudding anyway, so it's definitely not happening now. This extra is super handsome, by the way. We couldn't find his name for you, but we did try searching for all of you Hunky Boy fans out there. This all leads into Pia's second musical number called Real Love, where she sings about wanting to find real love in the deepest register that one could possibly muster, and it's so fun and so funny, and I sing along with it every time. It's great. You also get a little snippet of Jimmy and the Mustangs here, as well as just goofy after-school special-style dancing. Ron Extra runs by with a military vest strapped with Baby Ruths and Snickers bar, and a tentacle comes out of the lake and just grabs some poor guy by the neck while he's making out with some chick. Then right as the musical number ends, Frankie emerges with this close-up shot of his ass as he gives a little booty pop right before the camera pans back. Frankie is shirtless this whole movie, by the way, and it's great. There is no wonder why this movie was such a hit at Q-Fest. Craig Sheffer is a total thirst trap in this entire movie. He showboats the entire time, and I'm pretty sure his acting direction was just act like a tiger. And so he did. Dee Dee and he, we learn, are a couple. A couple of goofballs. Nah, but seriously, Frankie gets mad at Dee Dee for this improvised musical number of hers. And why, you might ask? Well, Frankie is the member of a gang of 12 guys, 6 of whom are a part of a smaller subset of the gang called Jimmy and the Mustangs. Jimmy and the Mustangs, a small internal band inside of the gang, a band for which Frankie occasionally sings lead, but believes himself to be the lead singer of. There, does that make sense? Does everybody understand now? He only occasionally sings lead. Essentially, it's really Duke. He is the lead singer of the band. Frankie's imagined position as the lead singer of the band, though, has made him very territorial over the music scene in Spielberg, and he decides who sings with the band. Not Dee Dee, not anybody. Our robot Primus, I guess we'll just call him Primus from here on out. He's getting all the aliens ready for their journey to Earth, preparing their incredibly redundant dropship teleporter phone booth for travel. It's a neat little piece that's definitely inspired by Doctor Who. And I feel like normally an alien ship would have either a teleporter or a dropship. You know, one or the other. That would be the reasonable, logical thing to go with. But no, we have a teleporter dropship phone booth here on the rock and roll alien spaceship. Ruth Gordon, the sheriff of Spielberg, is doing some peeping with her telescope as she gets ready for her own late-night bass solo. She stumbles, though, knocking the telescope to the sky where she sees a giant guitar. soaring across the sky, and she's so alarmed that she falls from her balcony, and her lieutenant quickly